Hi, it's Biohazard Babe back to you from webcam world. Just gonna be honest. This is a blog from a real person who deals with depression and anxiety, and I'm gonna be honest here, and I'm gonna say that I struggled to make this video. I did. It was and because I struggle with both anxiety and depression. It was almost like this it was kind of a mix of fear and, I couldn't move it. It was wanting to do something, and then it was the fear of doing it. It was, why would anybody want to listen to me when there's tons of people out there doing the same thing? And it's things like that. And although, but then I thought, and I sat there and I said, nope, we're going to do this. Because you know what? There are people who subscribe to you. And thank you. For those who subscribed, I am absolutely internally grateful for you. I don't know you. I don't know your story. But thank you. And I'm doing this for you. I was like, nope, you know what? There are people who are actually going to be wanting to watch your video. They're waiting for your video on Monday. So I'm doing this. I'm going through like a terrible time right now, and I'll share that with you guys in a minute about what's going on. But yes, I wanted to just be upfront and honest and say that this wasn't, just an easy, oh yeah, fun video to make. It was hard. It was hard to do, number one, because it wasn't even the social media part this time. It was insecurity. Sure, yeah, insecurity. But you know what? Put my shirt on. It says mindset is everything. And it is true, and that's why I wore it. I was like, you know what? And that's what, today is about, all mental health awareness overall. So it's kind of a broad topic. And so I'm going to be bringing in a lot of words. And so I'm going to try to be making it look pretty as much as I can. I'm still learning. Thank you so much for bearing with me and going with me on this journey, because it is a journey. I am very tech savvy. However, I'm still learning all the new things that you can do with all these programs, because, geez, there are so many things. Further on, the fun things that are happening in my life that are fun, not fun really. So the background's kind of changed a little bit. Right now is move out time. I'm supposed to be out of my apartment on Monday the 20th. Okay. All right, it's cool. I had purchased my first, and this was going to be like my first home, a luxury RV. I was so excited. And we had a place for it here, and it looked great. And then we got it set up, and all hell broke loose. Brand new RV. Now, me and my family are new to RVers. We are new RVers, so maybe, I don't know, maybe we should have had someone there with us when we did this. Or maybe it could be the curse that I've told you about. But we were told, okay, 25 to 50 things could go wrong within the first year. Okay, and you have a year warranty, and then we have an extended warranty. So, you bring it back into us, and that means we have to tow it because we don't have a vehicle to tow it. It's a fifth wheel. Okay, that's not horrible. There's a guy that does it, and you get the things replaced for free. Okay, cool. We had 25 or 50 things go wrong the first week. We had the RV. I'm not joking now. And no one taught us how to do the black tanks versus the gray tanks, and we almost had an explosion. It's literally a shit show. And yeah, it's been horrible. So originally we were going to have it purchased and available for me to slowly move all my things over. Yeah, that hasn't happened. We literally had to tow it back to where we bought it, which is near my parents, which is like an hour away from me. And so I am currently living with all of my stuff, hoping, fingers crossed, that the RV is ready in a week. But I still have to put all my stuff in storage. And I'm just like, this is fun. I'm sitting on a inflatable bed. So I'm cursed, I think, still. But that's what I'm going through right now. Like, seriously, anything that could go wrong with that RV went wrong. I'm not joking. It was the RV from hell. And I'm pretty sure it's a lemon, but they refuse to, and of course, why would you? You're not going to admit And of course, there's so many times they have to fix things before they can admit that it's a lemon. So here, there's law. So, okay, fine. Trying to stay positive. Trying to stay. I want to welcome you all back to our safe space. This is our safe space. I want any and all, please comment. And please comment. Feel free to go. I'm going to link my Instagram and Facebook. Please feel free to go there and also subscribe or like. And please feel free to reach out. I am just waiting to hear from somebody who would like to reach out. Let me know a little bit about their story. I'm always waiting for anybody to let me know. Give me some feedback. And thank you for everyone as well on all my channels who have given me feedback. Thank you so much. I actually do keep a ton of journals. I have a huge stack that actually aid me in this whole protocol, because it's just, there's so much that has gone on in my life. And let me clarify about being an open book. I guess what I mean about being an open book is just, I'm not going to tell you everything. No, there's a lot of things that as a human being, I'm not going to disperse to others. Like political views, things like that. There are things I just would rather not mention. But what I mean about being an open book is about my story. My story is very, to me, poignant, and I think it's something that does need to, for me, it needs to be shared at this point in my life. And for all the people that have been involved, it's kind of a time of reckoning for them. I think it's been this way. The dedication to my book really actually, it talks about that. It really is, the book is a dedication to all of those people who hurt me and who got me here. But it's a thank you as well to them, because I wouldn't be the person I was if they had not done the things that they did to get me here. So like all the bullying, all the things that I will talk about, if those things hadn't happened, I wouldn't be the person I am, the gracious person that I am, who I am today talking to you. So I do hope that the story does, sometimes it's funny. I'm not gonna lie. The story is actually kind of funny, and I'm gonna promote it as kind of funny, because just like the RV thing, like I literally was army crawling under the RV with ants. Oh my god, it was hard. I should have taken a picture. I looked at G.I. Jane afterwards. Like, my story is insane. Now, I'm not saying everybody else's isn't, because I'm assuming there are, but stick with me and you'll hear some really, really funny things, or just fun. For this episode, I have an article that, I know I talked about books, but I do have an article that I think is very poignant and is great. I'm going to have the link obviously available for you. The article is online, and I think that's great. And the article is called Diagnosis as an Adult. And the article itself, I think, is great because it talks about, and it was posted in Psychology Today, so I do trust this source. It talks about, and it does bring in some people who were diagnosed as an adult. Like myself, I was diagnosed at 34. So I was diagnosed at 34 with ADHD and autism. And so most of these people in this article were also diagnosed. And so it's explaining, does it feel good to be diagnosed as an older adult? And a lot of people say yes, but it also, does it harbor those feelings of shame? A lot of people, yes, because a lot of those diagnoses of ADHD and autism are usually seen in children. However, now that when I was given that diagnosis, which I still don't like that word, it made a lot of sense. And I think in this article, they made a lot of sense to these other adults that heard that too. Especially for women, we're really good at masking some of the symptoms that men are better at. Like, you can see the hyperactivity in boys. And, especially because I knew a lot of guys with ADHD, and they were always so hyperactivity, and that made a lot of sense. I was like, okay, you have ADHD. That makes sense. Me, I was like, when she told me that, I was like, I don't remember ever like bouncing off the walls or anything like that. But for women, we are more likely to engage in masking, which is, strategies in helping us appear like neurotypical. So that's why I seem neurotypical. A lot of us do. We, in some of our symptoms, so there was a lady who spoke about her brother was identified as a child with ADHD because of his anger and hyperactivity. but she was not. With her symptoms of forgetfulness and disorganization, they were kind of glossed over as, oh no, that's nothing, that she's just being forgetful. But and when she was 36, she was diagnosed as masking of ADHD and autism. And she was like, that makes a lot of sense. And that's kind of how I felt when I was told, hey, and not saying things. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That does. It really does. Research indicates that a majority of newly diagnosed adults shared the sense of recognition, gratitude, and relief, at least to some degree. I did. I took it as a badge of honor, honestly. I did. I took it on as finally somebody knows something. All these other people have been dumb for all these years. That's how I felt. I was like, okay. And the person that I clicked with happened to be my therapist, who, is also on the spectrum. And I think that's also something that is very poignant. If, she's neurospicy, and I am too. And so how we interact, you would see that. Like, she cusses, I cuss, we cuss in our conversations. It's just how we talk. But there are, but yet feelings of frustration, discomfort, anger, sadness may also be, they're not close, far behind. Across several studies exploring late diagnoses of autism, ADHD specifically, between 30 and 50% of participants reported negative emotional responses, including regret for lost time, that often occurred concurrently with more positive reactions. So that did happen to me as well. I was like, shoot, I wish I had known this earlier. But at the same time, I was like, no, I'm okay. Because, I don't know, I just took it, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I was ready for it before then. And I think that's what my therapist knew that too. She was kind of like, I don't think you were ready for this before now. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And I don't think I was either. Because yes, all of a sudden I understood that I wasn't broken. I was like, there wasn't a missing piece. I wasn't the black sheep that everybody was making me out to be. Okay? I was just different. And I've always been different. And now, not only am I different, but my brain is different. And how my therapist always puts it is, she's like, you're trying to drive, so like in jobs that I've had recently, she's like, you are trying to drive my brain. She's like, you're trying to drive a Lamborghini like a dump truck. And you can't do that. It's not really effective. It's not going to work well. So, and I get that. Like when she showed me my brain of ADHD and autism lit up, she's compared to a neurotypical, I was like, oh shit, my brain is different. It's just different. We light up differently. It was kind of like an identity shift. I kind of felt, okay, so not only do I have depression and anxiety, and I've dealt with that for a long time, but oh my gosh, now I have this other that also identifies me as something else within the field of, and also then it made me also realize, there are some people that I think also I might think are on the spectrum, but that's neither here nor there, because that's not for me to ever pursue. That's for them to pursue on their own and for them to figure out. And there is no typical path. Everyone has their own individual reaction. I was quiet, I think, when she gave me my results, and I kind of was figuring. When she told me, I was like, okay. In literature reviews looking at either autism or ADHD, self-acceptance and an increase in self-esteem following an adulthood diagnosis are consistent themes. And I do feel like I had a little boost of self-esteem, because that's when it kind of made me want to do this. I was like, okay, I feel like I feel now more whole, knowing that I knew that my brain was different, but it's in a good way. It's not bad. People would always try to put me down, right? But it's not that I'm different. But it's like my brain functions differently than yours. And that's what now, that's what I tell people. I'm like, instead of, apologizing for something, I'm like, you know what? No, my brain functions differently than yours. That's why we're having this. Okay. And the shame caused by untreated autism or ADHD often takes later hold in childhood or adolescence, fueled by feelings of being lazy or stupid or otherwise defective. Individuals with bipolar disorder often report feeling shame for hurting loved ones while in the throes of mania. And shame, I know that's hard. Shame. I have dealt with shame, and I have talked it with my therapist. She's given me an intrusive diary, like a diary for intrusive thoughts. When these thoughts come up with shame that you deal with, to write them down right away. Get it out of your head, because it's not really you having that thought. And I'm dealing with that right now because something came up that I was just like, hey, that's random. I remember that from junior high. And yeah, and then learning as much as possible the condition can always bring about self-esteem. And I did. I went right away, bought books. I mean, that's me. I do my due diligence about research about anything. And so going through the narrative about how, this has really affected me, and now that I see how it affected my whole life, I'm like, makes sense. And then, I think finding a therapist who shares my diagnosis really helps. She was very open with me, and a lot of therapists nowadays are very open about their neurotypical, or if they're, they're spicy, if they're neurospicy. I think they are very open about that because they want to be there for their patients. And I highly recommend finding somebody that you feel comfortable with. And I found this interesting too. In a 2020 study, for an example, found that autistic people scored higher on rapport and conversations with other autistic compared to those with neurotypicals. In fact, autistic pairs even better rapport than non-autistic pairs. Diagnosis-specific support groups, whether online or in person, can be helpful for that very reason. And that's why I am here. I'm creating a safe space as a introduction to that, because I personally was looking for, and this is for people who maybe don't even have a diagnosis, and that's fine. But you think maybe, okay, you're welcome. You're welcome here, and you're welcome to ask questions. You're welcome to reach out to me. No one has. You're welcome to reach out. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I've done my research, and that right there says the truth. We neurospicinesses, we know how to talk to each other. We get each other. Neurotypicals, we don't get them. They get each other. But we don't get them. I just thought that was so interesting. And it's a great fact to have, because I'm like, okay, so now I just need to find the right people. I haven't had the right people. And above all, diagnosis can give someone permission to finally unmask their authentic self. And that is what has happened. Unmasking. That is what happened here. Unmasking. And I highly recommend reading the full article. Again, I will have the link below. Again, the article is Diagnosis in Adult by Devin Fry. It was in Psychology Today and is linked on the web. It's a great quick read. I recommend reading it. It's great. Recommend it. This, like I said, and I will never share anything that I know would ever come back as ammunition to hurt me. A lot of this is going to be ammunition. A lot of the things I share here, unfortunately, that are things that are going to hurt maybe other people. And I'm sorry if that does. It's not meant to. But a lot of things have happened to me. And while I'm not out to actually be vindictive in any way to any of these people, this is my time to tell my story. And names, will be changed as needed, but they burned their bridges. And I know that there will always be people, he said, she said, whatever. I know my truth. For most of it, I have evidence for everything, so neither here nor there. But that's just to sum it up of, I know what I'm doing. And let me see. Moving on. So when you have mental health, when you have anxiety and depression, both, okay? And this is what happened to me with this video. It feels like losing a losing battle. It feels like being scared and tired at the same time. It feels like fear of failure, and the urge, but no urge to produce. No, like you're like, okay, I'm scared, but I can't even start. And wanting friends, but not wanting to socialize. That sums me up pretty much to the T. The brain chemicals, the deal that we deal with because of depression and all of these brain things that are wired wrong in our head, 4 brain chemicals that we need to know about with mental awareness. Dopamine, reward, try something new. That's what I recommend, to try to get some dopamine. Try something new and listen to music. That's my key, to try to get some natural dopamine. And serotonin is your mood stabilizer. Sunlight. Thoughts of sunlight. And it's hard even for me, because I'm sorry, even on the weekends, yes, I love to stay in my pajamas and just not go outside, but vitamin D is crucial for us, especially for those of us who are depressive. It's highly needed. And exercise and diet. Diet is super important. It is. And so is exercise, I'm not gonna lie. When I was eating really healthy, I'm doing CrossFit, and I had structure, which is really good for neurotypical. And then there's oxytocin, which is our love hormone, which is for affection. That would be animals, if you have animals. And friends, being with friends, laughing, getting massage, releasing some of those hormones into your bloodstream, getting that out, giving or receiving a massage. I did not know that. Did not know giving one would I had no idea. And then lastly, there are endorphins, and that's our pain reliever, and that's mainly going to be through our art and music. So do some art and music therapy, laughing, and exercise. That's gonna be your hardcore exercise, or yoga, meditation. So those are the 4 brain chemicals that make up our brain, and those are the ones that are obviously not stabilized correctly. And so yes, I do these things, and I'm missing that's what I seek a psychiatrist for, is for the medication, to make sure that these are in control. When we're dealing with mental awareness, we're dealing with so many different things. I could literally talk to you for hours, and I know that would be super freaking boring. So we're not. But I am going to just touch on some, and we're going to talk about, and I'm not able to, like I said, I could go on for days, because mental health awareness itself is such a broad term. It's an umbrella, and I'm gonna use that as an umbrella to basically, we're gonna talk about some different mental health issues that are underneath that term, and where they fit under that umbrella. It's nothing to be ashamed of. None of these are anything to be ashamed of or anything. I think sometimes people do feel ashamed to get a diagnosis, especially men. And again, I think I just want to make it very, very, very poignant to men. No shame at all in getting a referral, or just talking to someone, or a pen pal. I'm not even joking you. And I'm talking for military, if you're in the military, I seek out a pen pal. I've thought about doing that as well, just to be there for somebody, because I know you guys, I know the military, I can only imagine what they've been through. And so same thing with veterans. I know a lot of veterans, and I see what they go through, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And a lot of times because they can't speak about what they have seen. And so knowing that, I just let them talk about what they can. And that's why I'm here, and I'm like, if you're someone and you are a gentleman or vet, and you feel like you can't talk to someone, like, let's just say you're married and you don't feel like you could talk to your wife because of whatever reason, I don't know. And, I'm not trying to say I'm not the other woman, but I'm somebody to talk to. You can just say, hey, I need to talk to somebody about something that's going on in my mind. I don't know. I'm just somebody, and I'm somebody different. I don't know you. I don't know your situation. I don't know anything. Because I know, this is weird, how many times I have been out somewhere and somebody just has approached me, and that is the moment I needed to talk to somebody. I was like, how did you know? Where'd you come from? So I'm just saying that in case somebody right now is watching this and saying, I need to talk to somebody. Hey, there are I advise you, if you're saying that, to please reach out to someone that you either know. There are hotlines. Please, if this is an emergency, please call 911 if it's an emergency. If it's not, there are hotlines. 988 is a good one. Also, please reach out. I'm available via Facebook, Instagram. Also here, I get my messages. I do read and I do reply. And just saying. I'm just trying to be an ear for somebody who might need it, because I remember the night that I needed it. I remember it was back when I was in college and I needed it. And I needed an ear, and literally everyone on my phone was on their phone. And it was right after a bad breakup. The hardest one, and you'll hear it over and over again. But I just could not talk. I could not think. I had to talk to somebody. I was like, okay, I'm losing my mind. Well, at the time, the only thing I knew was I had a magnet next to my desk. On campus, they had a call, if you needed to talk, suicide hotline. And I was like, I'm not really suicidal, but I need to talk. Okay. It's awkward. It was a young gentleman I don't even know. I don't even remember his name. And of course, he had to keep asking me, are you suicidal? Are you suicidal? And I'm like, no, I really just need to talk because nobody is listening to me. And I need to talk about this. I have to. And, he probably did not care about my story at all. But it's the fact that somebody listened to me that night that kept me alive, because I could not deal with the fact that I still did not understand why we had broken up. It was too new. It was raw. And I needed someone to listen to me. He didn't say a dang thing about it, right? He didn't have an opinion. And I knew that. I had to talk it out. And I know women usually need that. And so if you're a woman and you need to talk something out and you can't talk to somebody else about it, or you feel ashamed for some reason, okay, again, I'm here. I don't know you, and I'm not going to judge you. Believe me, I'm not going to judge you. Sorry for that. Back to our disorders. So I'm going to go through the different types of disorders, and then we're going to have a little surprise at the end for the extra before we leave, that I hope you guys are excited for, because I'm excited for it. It is exciting. It's where I'm introducing you to somebody, so let's get through this. But this is exciting too, because this is learning about what encompasses mental health awareness. We have anxiety disorders, and that can include phobias and excessive fear and dread. Mood disorders, which would include depression, bipolar, persistent mood swings in mood, or persistent feelings that interfere with daily life. Psychotic disorders, which would be schizophrenia and disordered thinking. Eating disorders, bulimia and anorexia, extreme emotional attitudes. We have impulse disorders for kleptomania, pyromania, and gambling. So unable to resist that urge. We have personality disorders, antisocial disorder, OCD, narcissistic personality disorder. So they are extreme inflexible personalities. Post-traumatic stress disorder, persistent frightening memories leading to emotional numbness. I deal with this, not to the extreme. I know that some people do, but I have, and it's horrible. And ADHD, it can be inattentive versus hyperactive, or it can be combined. I don't honestly know which one I have. I'd probably say I would be combined then, I don't know. But I know the hyperactives. Again, this week was about just a little bit about mental health awareness. Overall, it's very important. It's very important to listen to yourself. Okay? Listen to your intuition. Coming to the safe space and making it your own, making it what you guys want. And when I get settled, I hope to bring these boxes to you guys that I like I said before, have some items in them that I use every day for stimming and just use every day. And I think they're awesome products. Have kind of collected them along the way, and I'm able to share them with you guys and to see if anyone's interested in purchasing a box, but that'll come later. And so for the final finale, we have an introduction. Let me go get our guest. So this is Keo. He is less than a year old, and he is my ESA. Before him, I had a 13-year-old girl cat, and she was my ESA. Unfortunately, she passed, and that was really hard for me. And so I've had this little stinker for about almost a year now. But he is a beautiful big boy, and he will be making some presences in our videos, and some pictures, of course, will be occurring with him. And he's a lover. If you're a cat person or not, but he's still a good boy. He's a lover. He's a big boy. All right. But I highly recommend, animals help, at least me. Having him around has helped so much. I didn't think getting another cat right away was a good idea, but I'm so glad that I did. A few months after, just hearing him purr, just the decibels, can calm me down so much. I highly recommend it. ESA is great. Emotional support animals. So as we finish this video, I just want to thank you again to everybody who has been watching. I also want to thank you for everybody who actually subscribed. I can't thank you enough. That was just so amazing to see that somebody subscribed, and I was like, that's so amazing to me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. And again, I ask for your input, ask for your take on this, what you would like to see, what can I do better? I really am, with every video every week, going to try to make it better. This channel is only going to get better as we go along. It's going to get better because all I can do is learn, and I'm a quick learner. If you're safe, have a good night. If you're not, reach out to somebody. And again, this is our second video about mental awareness overall from Biohazard Babes page, and I am super excited about our third video for next week. And so I hope to see everybody again, and please subscribe. Please like my video, and it's bye from Keo. Bye, guys.